The first cut we're going to deal with is called a running cut. It's a sort of line where the tool goes into the wood, goes along and comes out. You're going to need your V tool and you're going to need your medium gouge and a bit of wood to practice on. The first thing I wanted to do with the grain going in this direction, the wood fibres in this direction, is to make a simple straight line across the wood in a low angle grip like this. The fibres will come away easy, the shaving will come away easy because it's across the grain. In order to get that equal depth, you need to keep the tool at an equal angle. So you enter the wood, keeping that angle, you move along, and when you come to the end here, either you can stop and this will break off, or you would drop the handle and come out like that. Drop the handle and come out. So lay yourself down a nice straight line like this and then try and match it with the second one like this. Same width, same depth. You can do it like this, do a little bit of a shunting sometimes, but if possible, try and always make your cuts as single and as long as possible. The other thing to say about this is as I come across here doing this, I'm going to fall off the end of the wood. So this is a place where it'd be really good to swap hands. So I want you to do this with both hands, swapping hands and make these parallel lines straight across the wood like this. As I get to the end, I'm pushing with this, pushing back and resisting. So if you like, you can draw yourself a line and you could see if you're coming along and stop just on the line each time. Like that. The next thing I want you to do is a wavy line. So your line is moving from right to left to right like this. Again, controlling by pushing backwards and pushing forwards. Then put a second line, the same depth and the same distance apart as you can. And then a third line. So to do this, you have to swing your body around, keeping this hand fixed like a jig almost. And then you can do the same thing with the other hand. Third exercise is to make a curving cut. So this cut is coming around, say, in this direction. Now what you'll find is that you'll be able to pivot on this little bone here, and almost without effort you'll be able to copy the same cut because it's wanting to make the same radius. But it is more difficult to do it in the other direction. The elbow tends to come away. So what you need to do for the other direction is swap hands and use the bone on this side. So again, you'll make a cut and try and stop it where you like, and a cut, stop it exactly the same place. So make decisions, it's all about control. Best you can, see if you can make things the same. Don't worry about them breaking off at the moment. So lefts and rights. The fourth thing I'd like you to try is a sort of undulating cut. In other words, the tool starts off light as we've been carving, and then by raising the handle, the edge will plunge into the wood, and then as you lower the handle, it'll come out again. Lower, raise, and you get this sort of a scoop. So we'll try this again. In, out, in, out. If you did this scoop by going in and then just lowering the handle like that, there's a real danger to damaging the edge. So a good rule is the tool is always going forward as you come out. So the running cut is in, along, out. That's effectively a running cut. In, along, out. So I'd like you to practice these rather cool little running cuts like this. And if you go them in the opposite direction, you can make quite an interesting pattern in the wood. In fact, a lot of these V cuts can be made into all sorts of interesting patterns. So practice that both hands. The final thing I want you to look at is a tapering cut. In other words, a sort of undulating cut, but much longer, where we start slow I get deeper and deeper and deeper, and then so I've drawn a line here. I'm going to try and stop and put one next to it. That's quite difficult to control that. As the tool gets deeper, there's more resistance, so it needs more pressure. And a lot of people at this point, when the tool is deep, will use a mallet. Anyway, so those might break off like this because it's a cross grain, but if not, you can take a little skew chisel like this, or your knife, and just nick that end off like that. Just use the point, however you like to hold it for the moment. Now what I'd like you to do also is to take the same sort of cut and to curve it, just as you did before, but getting deeper. So you'd make a couple of cuts tapered in this direction. Now this time it's not going to break off because we don't have the fibres so neatly across. So as it comes up to here, stop at the line, and then use the skew chisel just to nick that end off like that. And when you're carving, this would be a place that you would use your carving brush to get rid of the little shavings. Do it also this way round as well, so you're tapering this way, and nick them off like this. Now you might notice as you come deeper, and depending on the wood, that as you come deeper in this cut here, that one side is very smooth, but one side is torn. And that's a particular instance of how the wood works that I want to talk to you a little bit more about. Let me try and explain what's happening here with one of my deep gouges. So let's make this cut. Here's a running cut. I hope you can see this as I do it. This is a good wood for carving, but I can see that one side of this edge here, this is all very rough, and on the other side here, it's very smooth. And this always happens when the grain, when the fibres of wood are going across and we're cutting diagonally like this. One side is with the grain, in other words, you're getting a nice smooth cut. The other side is tending to bury itself in the grain like this. I'm exaggerating here. So you're going to get a rough side and a smooth side. I've got a little demonstration model here that I think will be useful in blowing this up so you can see what's happening. This is a magnified version of what's happening. The grain is coming in this direction, in other words, wood fibres going across. Here they are. Here's all the wood fibres exaggerated. And what I've done is I've ploughed or run this trench through here. So if we were to look at the fibre level, what's happening is as we come down here, in this direction there, on this side of the wood, just doing one side at a time, these fibres here are supported by the fibres underneath. The fibres underneath stick out more and support the ones above. But if I was to come in this direction, on this side, what would happen is that these fibres would be free from the ones below. They're not fully supported, they're staggered. So this is tearing in this direction, but it's actually quite smooth in this direction. Now on the other side, it's the opposite. So when we come in this direction on this side, this is nice and smooth. When we come in this direction on that side, this is tearing up again. So it's nothing to do with you or how you're carving, it's really the nature of the wood fibres and the way they're being cut. So here's the rule. What you have to do is, well, if you think about it like a pencil, is always sharpening the pencil. So if the fibres of the pencil are coming in this way, then you need to be sharpening downhill like this. You would never sharpen a pencil uphill like that. So on this side of the wood, this is like sharpening the pencil. And the main rule is that if you're working down here or in any groove and it's tearing, the rule is to turn around and come the other way. So a trench like this is probably carved one side like this, and then the other side coming up like this. quite separately. You have to do it in two parts. So what this might mean in practice is, say I needed to put a line something like that. I would run my first cut a bit narrower than I wanted to end up at. And one of the sides would be good, one of the sides would be torn. So then I'd come back on the torn side and make that a bit bigger, avoiding the other side. So there's a little bit of backwards and forwards. It doesn't matter whether it's a V-tool or a deep gouge. This is one of the things you need to do, and one of the reasons why it's really good to be able to reverse your hands like that. So that's a running cut. Fairly straightforward, but there's a lot to it. So you do need to practice this. And when you've got the hang of it, when you feel comfortable, let's move on to the next lesson and make a sample board that'll remind us of what we've been doing.